Hi guys, welcome to another episode of my outdoor cooking, and today we're making rice and zongo stew. You guys will love this recipe. It's so simple to make, and I'm going to just teach you a simple version of making this. To start off, I'm just going to steam my proteins, and I have here some tripe and some cow meat. I'm going to add my usual pepper mix to this. If you don't know this, the ingredients are in the caption. I'm just going to add some seasoning as well as some natural spices to season my proteins and make sure it's well seasoned before I take it off the fire. Tripe is actually a very hard protein, so you'd want to just soak it for some hours before you cook it because it takes time to cook, especially if you're cooking it with another protein. So that's my protein that I've cooked, and I'm just going to start my stew. But before I do that, I'm going to fry my proteins, and so I'm just going to add some onions to my oil just to bring out more flavor. This is so good when you do it this way. Now I'm going to take these onions off my fire, and I'm just going to set this aside and blend it later with my pepper mix. Deep frying is always the best, but it takes up a lot of oil, so it may be expensive. Otherwise, it's the best way to fry your proteins. Now this is what we have. You can see how it looks well fried. We're frying it the Zongo style. To make my stew, I have here my stew base mix, which is going to be my pepper mix as well. I'm just going to add the onions that I fried in the oil to this and blend. This has more natural spices like cloves, grains of SELIM, some CALABASH nutmeg, which is not optional at all. I'm also going to blend my tomatoes and peppers, and I'm also going to blend my onions as well, but I'm not going to completely blend this. I'm going to roughly blend those onions. Now you see that oil that we use to fry the proteins? Yes, transfer that oil into your saucepan and then add in your roughly chopped or blended onions. Normally they mostly chop everything. The Zongo people, they like to cut everything into tiny pieces and use it for the stew, but I decided to roughly blend mine because of time. So I'm just going to transfer my stew base or my pepper mix into this. Make sure you do not omit any natural spices because that is what makes zongo stew, the natural flavor in it. Now I'm just going to continue to fry this. Note that zongo stew is a fried stew, it's not a boiled stew, so it requires a lot of oil to fry it. Okay, just like we make shito. Now I'm going to add a little tomato paste to this. Continue to fry my stew and make sure you fry it very well and for a long time. Okay, now I'm going to add in my blended tomato mix, and I'm going to continue to fry the stew. Yeah, so continue frying, because if you don't fry the stew and you start to boil the stew, you're not going to get the zongo flavor. You're just going to get the same normal stew we make every day. So you have to keep stirring and stirring and stirring because you don't want to burn the stew as well. Now I'm going to add some chopped paposhito because I wanted some heat or some spiciness in my stew so that it will taste so nice. Now continue to fry the stew. You can see that the oil is a lot. Do not worry about that because you need a lot of oil to fry the stew. Now I'm adding some meat stock to it because you want that flavor of meat in your zongo stew. It's going to taste so nice. I'm going to add some dawadawa as well because little dawadawa in your zongo stew goes a long way. Now you're going to season this with any seasoning of your choice, but if possible, make some natural spices with your normal seasoning mix that you always use and use that to season your stew. Now I'm going to add in my fried cow meat to this. Give this a good mix and continue to fry the stew. Now this stew took about an hour to completely fry before I added my meat and my eggs. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some eggs to this. Give this a good mix, and that's it. You can make zongo stew without eggs. I mean, the eggs must be present because you may want to eat this with wachi later and you need the eggs in that. Okay, so I added my boiled eggs and then I mixed everything together. You guys, at this point you will be smelling the stew. The aroma is amazing because natural spices in your stew is a game changer. It brings out a different flavor in your stew, and that's why zongo stew is very unique. Okay, now I'm going to be making some rice, and you have no idea how stressful it is to make rice on coal pots. If you're not a pro, you might just burn your rice. I'm going to add some oil and some salt to this, and I'm going to add my washed rice. Regulate the fire. If you know you can't handle it, just take it to your gas and cook your rice on your gas stove. Okay, otherwise you're going to get burnt rice. But burnt rice is also nice, it's delicious. I like that as well, but don't burn it too much. Okay, now this is my rice that I have cooked very well. I tried to take out more charcoal off the fire so that it doesn't completely burn my rice, and it came out well. Now this is my zongo stew. I'm going to be adding some paposhito just for garnishing and for more heat, and that's it. It's time to serve. You can see how delicious this looks already. I just wanted to serve it in my asanka, and I added some leaves to this so that it will give it that local Zongo touch. Okay, now I'm just gonna dish my rice and then add in my cooked spaghetti, add in some leaves as well, because Zongo rice is not complete without some leaves. Now I'm going to add in my Zongo stew, and you can see how dark this is looking. That's when you know that you did something right. Okay, I like dark Zongo stew, like I love it. It gives shito vibes, and I really love that. Now I'm going to add my plantain and my beans. Zongo rice without beans is not complete. I love beans in my Zongo rice so much, and I was craving this food, and I was so happy that I was able to put this together, and my family, they enjoyed it. If you guys try this recipe, when you do, let me know how it goes. Bye.